T.I. King Harris, his 1-year-old son, has been upending the internet for the past few weeks. The Harris family name is back in the news, thanks to a leaked fight video that went viral on social media. A traffic stop that resulted in a Pikachu onesie mugshot, a revolver on a dashboard, and his father pulling up on police officers in the middle of the night. I am in the center of everything. Let's examine King Harris's entire history and the reasons for it. I have had enough. Around 1 in the morning on the 12th of April, 2026, an Gwinnett County police officer noticed something strange on a section of road close to Holcomb Bridge Road and Peachtree Corners Circle in Peachtree Corners, Georgia. A Tesla Cybertruck covered in camouflage was speeding along the road. In a 45 miles per hour zone, the officer recorded the car traveling at 70 miles per hour. The officer had to accelerate to 80 miles per hour in order to catch up to it, according to later body camera evidence. Things were tense as soon as the police pulled the car over and went up to the driver's side window. King Harris, a 1-year-old rapper and reality TV celebrity, and the son of Atlanta hip-hop icon T, was behind the wheel. King was also not feeling cooperative. However, the officer saw something that completely altered the character of the stop before he could even start talking about speeding. There was a weapon clearly visible on the Cybertruck's dashboard. In the center console, the officer also observed an open THC container. The officer informed King he had to get out of the car, of course. In answer, King remained still. "You want me to get out of my car to talk to you?" "About what?" King asks the officer in the body cam, and the officer tries to calmly explain the problem. He raised safety concerns and noted that they were both within arm's reach of a loaded handgun. He even cited Pennsylvania versus Mims, a Supreme Court decision that grants police the authority to compel drivers out of a car during a legitimate stop. King, however, would not have it. He still wouldn't leave. He and the officers engaged in a heated standoff after that. He was threatened with arrest for obstruction if he disobeyed. After a phone conversation with his attorney, he finally went outside. However, the harm had already been done by then. King didn't exactly remain silent after getting out of the car and being searched. He was seen making fun of the officers in the body camera clip. "Music. Did it make you feel tough?" he asked them. The officer gave a curt response. "Oh, it did give me some paperwork." King then addressed the policemen, seated in the rear of the patrol car. "What happened at home with y'all?" implying that they were venting their personal resentment on him. The plot takes an even more bizarre turn at this point. When King Harris was arrested, he was dressed in a complete Pikachu Pokémon onesie. It's not a joke. That's what appeared in his reservation photo. Wearing a bright yellow Pikachu suit, the 1-year-old son of one of Atlanta's most legendary rappers was apprehended in the middle of the night in a Tesla Cybertruck with a revolver on the dash. You really can't make that up. He was arrested and brought to the jail. Things worsened during the reservation procedure. A Schedule II controlled drug was discovered on him by the authorities. Later on, it was determined to be a possible oxycodone tablet. The charges began to mount: possession of a Schedule II substance, music, deliberate obstruction of law enforcement, exceeding the speed limit by at least 24 miles per hour, and failing to wear a seatbelt. Around 2:30 a.m., he was taken into custody, VM, and just after 8 a.m., was released on bond, VM. He will now have to deal with the music felony narcotics possession charge in court in addition to the driving infractions. However, there were other people who appeared on that body camera tape that evening, except King Harris, because someone called his father when all of this was going on. When word reached T, he didn't wait after learning that his son was being held on the side of the road at Peachtree Corners. He drove himself to the location after getting into his automobile. Rapper T, his father. "I arrived at the scene and received a briefing from the arresting officer, Music." The entire conversation is captured on the Gwinnett County Police Department's body camera, Music T. Now, he is accustomed to dealing with law enforcement, both personally and through his kids. This was distinct from the man's well-documented past with the justice system. At 2 in the morning, his son was sitting in the back of a cop cruiser, staring down several counts, including a felony, while wearing a Pokemon onesie. Additionally, T.I. hoped to use music to assist his kid in resolving the matter on the spot, but it didn't work. It can be seen on the body camera footage that was acquired and made public. I am interacting directly with the officers. Instead of using physical force to confront the officers who had arrested his son, he was acting like a father who was angry, perplexed, and trying to figure out why his kid was going to be taken to a Gwinnett County jail cell in the middle of the night. The T.I.M. came to the scene in an attempt to mediate the issue, but King was arrested because he refused to get out of the car. By the time T arrived, the arrest was underway. The charge of obstruction was already being prepared. The illegal goods had previously been identified. Nothing T was present. I could do nothing but observe at that point. This is the point at which it transcends being just another celebrity arrest tale. This is a father who is aware that the entire world will witness the real-time, on-camera consequences of his son's decisions. Because the body camera footage was made public by the Gwinnett County Police Department, it spread all over the place. TMZ, Fox 5 Atlanta, The Breakfast Club, and social media. Millions of people watched T.I. stood on the side of the road trying to talk to officers while his kid sat in handcuffs. The body cam film revealed that Harris's famous father, T.I., was trying to help him out of trouble. That didn't work out, and he got booked regardless. The T.I.M. pushed. He spoke up. He acted like any parent would have in that circumstance. Is greater than music. Is greater than. He attempted to step in. However, your father's platinum albums don't make the law change. After being processed, King was detained for the night. Music. The next morning, after being freed on bond, King did what King Harris does best on Instagram. He ridiculed the whole thing. In an Instagram video, King Harris addressed the situation while sporting a Pikachu onesie. He rapped about getting arrested by the cops' music and spending the night in jail. Living a good Pikachu life in Tokyo, then coming back to ATL and Team Rocket catching me with a master ball and throwing me in jail all night. He wrote beside a picture of himself wearing the onesie. He even likened the cops to Team Rocket from the Pokemon series. He threatened to have sex with the wife of his arresting officer and wrote, "F that police," music in a subsequent post. Regarding T.I., who arrived at the scene in an attempt to be a responsible father, to get his son music out, and to defuse the situation. It must have been odd to watch King turn the entire situation into a social media joke. Because King has already made the Harris family's name appear in the media for unfavorable reasons. Not even near. And what happened next? Just music days later? Put even more fuel on an already burning inferno. This Peachtree Corners arrest was not a singular occurrence. Given that he is the son of one of the most well-known rappers in Atlanta history, King Harris's increasing history of run-ins with the law presents a very alarming picture. After being stopped while operating a BMW in Dunwoody, Georgia, in October 2024, Harris was taken into custody. He almost hit a patrol car as he was exiting a gas station, according to police reports. Music. The cops smelled marijuana when they got to his car and discovered Harris had a gun on his hip. They brought him to the DeKalb County Jail. He had a warrant for failing to appear, which they soon discovered. Thus, even before the Peachtree Corners stop, this was already in his album Is Greater Than. Music is greater than. It's not limited to interactions with law enforcement. The pattern of behavior dates back many years, to when King was just 15 music years old. A video of the rapper and King, the 5-year-old Music, son of Tiny Harris, fighting at school went viral back in January 2020. In the video, King and a classmate were seen fighting in the school music restroom. A few children watched helplessly as the two lads brawled, throwing multiple punches. According to Zonique, King's older sister, Music, King and his classmate got into a dispute over the classmate's hoodie. It seems that the clothing symbolized Kodak Black, T's worst adversary, I.M. and the household. Even at the age of 15, King was criticizing familial loyalty in music. Some people might remember Kodak mentioning T.I. do Tiny Harris, his wife, as Piggy, while also claiming to be a superior rapper to T.I. Thus, there was a lot of animosity. As usual, King took to social media to defend himself in response to the widely shared fight footage. He summarized the events for his fans on social media. He asserted that the video only captured the start and that he was struck just once. Then, in September, Music 2022, a video of Harris getting into a verbal argument at an Atlanta Waffle House went viral. Later, the incident was publicly discussed by his parents, who acknowledged the difficulties of growing up in the spotlight while defending their son. You see, everything is connected by this thread. Not every incident occurs in a vacuum. Every one builds upon the previous one. The Harris family is under increasing pressure from each of them. Is greater than music. Is greater than. They all seem to push I am. A breaking point is getting closer and closer. In actuality, King Harris doesn't just get into trouble. He transmits music. Harris has also gained notoriety for his vocal use of social media, where he has engaged in direct musical responses to remarks made about his family and engaged in conflict with critics. Every arrest, altercation, and altercation music is captured on video, posted live on Instagram, and goes viral in a matter of hours. This is what distinguishes music from the usual celebrity child getting into trouble. Following the release of the leaked battle film on the 21st of April 2026, King appeared to enjoy the attention and music. The internet erupted once more after it was shared on social media with the comment, "I son King leaked a school fight." He was arrested in Peachtree Corners just 9 days beforehand, on the side of the road, just 9 days after his father attempted to free him from police custody. One more altercation, one more video, and one more headline with the Harris family name music all over it. To comprehend why T.I. is at the end of his rope, music, you must comprehend King's past with him, because this goes beyond a father being dissatisfied with his son's actions. This is about a father who has openly attempted to use music to guide his kid in the proper direction, and a son who has openly opposed music at every turn. November 2023 was the most explosive instance. T.I. and his son King Harris got into a furious fight about the teenager's music and silver spoon upbringing, which eventually resulted in a violent altercation. The Harris family was present at the Atlanta Falcons divisional game versus the New Orleans Saints on Sunday, November 26th, when the entire incident occurred. T.I. and King started to argue about the latter's affluent upbringing. The dispute began when T.I. asked Music if King had a genuine understanding of suffering. In a video that went viral, T.I. was heard questioning King about whether he had ever woken up with a roach on his face, implying that King had never truly lived in poverty. That description did not sit well with King. He said he will show T.I. as evidence of his ties to the streets, including his mother Tiny Harris is greater than, music is greater than, and other people in the room. A drug den in an area he frequently visits. Music, he charged T.I. of lying to improve his public image. The conversation turned physical. King insisted that his father release him, but T.I. told King he was physically outmatched and started reprimanding his kid for his inappropriate remarks. The T.I. was overheard saying to King, "You are embarrassing yourself and your family." The phrase "embarrassing yourself and your family" reveals all about T's situation. I am at King's head. King was seen getting into a loud argument, most likely with his parents, during the Instagram Live that documented the incident. Music. He repeatedly yelled about standing on business and questioned why he was being played with. After being shoved by an unidentified individual, King yelled, "What's wrong with y'all? Why are y'all doing that to me?" Before taking to Instagram to clarify his stance. He said, "I stand on business. Don't give a fuck 2R. It's a gaffe. Who is meth can't play with me in my face. Not going for it. I'm grown a man now." He didn't mention T.I. directly, but everyone was aware of the person he was referring to. There is a lot of irony in this. King and T were only a few weeks prior to Music, the Falcons game explosion. I had addressed the prospect of King portraying his father in a biopic during their joint appearance at Complex Con Music 2023. The T.I.M. had shown his belief in his son's ability by saying, "I think Music, can do anything he puts his mind to. He just has to get over his own limitations." That's a father who still believes that music is worth fighting for. However, that optimism has repeatedly been put to the test. King's constant insistence, music, that he was reared tough, that he comes from the streets, and that he doesn't require his parents' instruction, irritates T in every way. He has made an effort to provide for his family. It also contrasts with the fact that King was raised in a gated community and in an opulent setting that most people will never encounter. King responded by saying that he frequently spent time at his grandmother's house and frequently got into fights as a child. Tiny then added that he did have a silver spoon. Both parents challenged King's story, and King challenged theirs. Every new King Harris headline hits T because of this tug of war, the ongoing public struggle between father and son music over identity, image, and power. I am quite difficult. Due to T.I., he is aware of the actual repercussions. He has served time in a federal prison. He has been charged with major offenses. From the ashes of his own mistakes, he has rebuilt both his life and his career. And music, he's witnessing his son head straight for the same dangers without any of the caution or fear that experience is meant to impart. Is greater than music. Is greater than April. 2026 has arrived. King Harris is 21 years old. Gwinnett County has filed felony drug charges against him. He's been arrested before. Music. He has a habit of getting into fights in public. He has a track record of going viral for the wrong reasons. Is greater than music. Is greater than. His father, one of the most well-known characters in Atlanta hip-hop, has often been seen attempting to handle the aftermath on Bodycam, Instagram Live, and TMZ. The most recent chapter is the music-leaked combat video that appeared on April 21st, 2026. The video went viral with the tag T.I. Son King Leak School Fight Music just 9 days after the Peachtree Corners arrest, reigniting a discussion that never truly subsided. The same questions that people had been asking for years began to come up. Music. Where are the parents? What is T.I.M.? What are you doing about this? Is there anyone who can reach King? Music. In actuality, T.I. has attempted. This is demonstrated by the body camera footage. He tried to get his son released by showing up there in the middle of the night. The T.I. fought for King Harris's release following the arrest. He interacted with law enforcement. He spoke up. He assumed the position of the fatherly protector. However, the system was already under control. The accusations were made. The reservation was finished. The larger family dynamic comes next. Music. King is among the 7 kids that T.I. is the parent of. There are other children in the house besides him. Although he is not the only child music with a public profile, he is the one that makes the most headlines due to his bad behavior, which has a negative impact on music. Not only on T.I.M. and Tiny, but on the whole family brand. The Harris name is associated with public appearances, reality shows, music, and business endeavors. Every time a brawl video or King's mugshot goes viral, it affects everyone. Only a few weeks music after King Harris gained notoriety for interfering in his father's conflict with 50 Cent, news of his most recent court troubles has surfaced. He made it apparent that he wouldn't tolerate disrespect for his music parents by releasing several diss tracks, music directed at the G-Unit chairman. On the one hand, King fiercely defends the honor of his family. He thought his parents' music was being mistreated, so he went after one of the biggest stars in hip-hop, 50 Cent. However, he is the same individual who engaged in a physical conflict with his own father on Instagram Live and said to the world that he doesn't give a damn about your identity. This paradox characterizes King Harris as both devoted and careless. ready to use his fists to defend the family reputation, but also dragging it through the muck with his decisions. Is greater than is greater than. Music is greater than is greater than. And T.I. has consistently stated that he has faith in his son, even when T appeared at ComplexCon. I think anything he puts his mind to, he can do it if he wants to do it, he said, adding that he could envision King portraying him in his biopic. That's a father who hasn't given up. But reality must contend with optimism. King Harris is currently dealing with court dates, felony charges, and a public image that is becoming more difficult to repair every week. If T.I. can reach his son before the repercussions become irreversible, before a judge renders a ruling that cannot be overturned by parental music lobbying, because your last name is irrelevant to the legal system. Your father's discography is irrelevant to it. It doesn't give a damn about your music diss recordings, Instagram postings, or Pikachu onesies. The accusations are true. Next is the courtroom. Regarding T.I. Watching King spiral in public must feel like witnessing a recurrence of his own past for a guy who has escaped federal jail, rebuilt his career, kept his wife. Is greater than music. Is greater than, and reared 7 children in the relentless spotlight of celebrity. But he can't stop it this time. He is able to appear at the traffic stop. He can go up against the music cops. He may attempt to save his son. However, King Harris is ultimately a 1-year-old man making his own decisions. Is greater than. Music is greater than. And those decisions have repercussions that even I cannot outrun. The only question left is whether King would pick up that lesson on his own, or if the system will force him to learn it. Because the trajectory is now going in one direction, and every incident, arrest, and leaked video brings T.I. is one step closer to realizing their worst fears.